Yeah. Mm, yeah. Uh, good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to 360DigiTMG. And today, in yesterday interview session, I have covered the database management system topics. Regarding database management system topics, I have covered some interview questions. Today, we will look into that SQL interview questions. Okay. Okay, guys. So yesterday, up to what topic we covered in interview session? Up to what topic we covered? I think we are in the middle of the commands. We are middle of the commands concepts. So let us start with the commands. Okay. So in SQL, I didn't discuss. I think I thought that I didn't discuss the normalization concept and denormalization concept. So we will look into these concepts very deeper insights. We'll go deeper insights of these concepts, and then I will discuss each and every language which is present in the commands. Okay, each and every language. What are the languages we have in commands that we can discuss. So basically, first thing, the first question of this session is. So just give me a second. I will make my font is bigger because if I didn't make it bigger, definitely you guys can't able to see my. Okay. So what happened? Zoom. Yeah, I think it's work. It will work now. So the first question is, what is the first question? So the first question is where we are using this SQL in real-time IT industry. So in which part we are going to focus in real-time IT industry, where we are focusing, or where we are using this SQL part. So that I can explain in one story how we are going to focus, in which area we are going to focus. So basically, everyone using the mobile phone, right? So for suppose you are a person, you are a person, you are using some mobile phone here, right? So you are using some mobile phone. So for suppose daily you're asking too many questions here Google, right? You're opening your you're opening your Google, and you're trying to find some specific answer for special questions, right? So for example, so you're searching what is equal in your Google. So what is happening? So you can able to see too many SQL links, SQL, but there is no exact question for this. Wherever the SQL is there, that the topics is coming into the top 10 in your Google Chrome, right? So what is the story behind of this behind of this? So what is happening? Why I'm searching only one question, I'm getting too many links? So what is the behind this thing? What is the behind the background process of these special story? Okay, so that I will tell you. So here your mobile phone is you're searching some what is SQL. So that is request. You are giving request to the server, right? So you are giving a request to the server. So here what is happening? So request is like what request you are giving, what is SQL. So here server is there. Server, there is some special points, some note points I will tell you for the server. This server doesn't have storage to store data. It doesn't contain a large storage to store the data. That is one point about server. And the second point is it has little bit storage to store programs. So here programs means what? Here programs means instructions. Okay. So here programs. So these 2 points is this is a process was happening in the server normally. We are storing only programs in the server. So here we are getting the request from the user, right? Here request we are getting from the user. So here you are getting doubt. So the server doesn't have the storage capacity, right? So where is the storage? I am asking the question, right? What is SQL? So based on that SQL, where the data will store? Where is the data? So for that, the other side of the server, when the server is getting request, the other side of the server, there is a thing. The name is data warehouse. Data warehouse or data wrangling, you can tell that. Okay, data wrangler. Okay. So here in this case, data warehouse or data wrangling. So what is the meaning of data warehouse? So that I will explain you. So here server is there, right? So server is connecting to the databases. So when the server is getting request from the user, when the server is getting from the user, so based upon the programs, we have programs in the server, right? So uh, based upon the server program, based on the request, the server has programs. So that programs, based on that programs, that server is making the request, taking the keywords. What it will take keywords. What is a keyword, and SQL is a keyword. And each word it is separately. What are the words? The combination of these words present in which database it will search. So if the data is matching, then it will respond back to server. Respond back to server, right? So after responding back to the server, then when the server is getting information from the data warehouse, so automatically the server will respond based upon the programs. What are the programs server says? Based on that programs, it will respond back to the user. Okay. So then only in database there is too many table, too many information, too much information we have in the databases. So based on the data information, it will provide all the combination of these three words. What are the information they have in the databases that will transfer to the user. So that's why you're getting too many pages in the Chrome page, right? So if you open Chrome page, if you observe or if you open any Chrome page, starting of the line with the less number of words will be there. Here it will give, it will say how many sites we have based on your request. So with the less time, within the less time, it is process lakhs of information, lakhs of links or lakhs of information. So server means what? It will process the user's client request or a user request or client request. You can tell that thing. Okay. So that thing, now you got it, right? So in this part where we are going to cover, sir, so here SQL is there. In this part where we are going to cover, in the data warehouse part. In the data warehouse part, we are using this SQL. Okay. So this is the actual process of the SQL in the IT industry normally. Okay. Now the second question I already covered. What is that? So the SQL. So what is the purpose of SQL, guys? So what is the purpose of SQL? The purpose of the SQL is to maintain the CRUD operations or to perform the CRUD operations. Okay, to maintain or to perform the CRUD operations. So what is a CRUD? CRUD means what? CRUD. CRUD operations. So what is the meaning of CRUD, guys? So CRUD. So here C means create. R means read. U means update. And D means delete. So here, what is the purpose of create? So you can able to create a new databases, or you can able to create a new tables, right? So for these purposes, we are using this create thing. So read. So what is the purpose of read? So for read, we can able to, after storing, okay, there is a database. So in this database, you are storing the table. I mean, you are storing the tables, right? So in yesterday's session, I already explained there is a database. In this database, which format we are storing the data? We are storing the data in the form of tables. In the form of tables. So this is this process is called structured database, right? When you're storing this table into the database, that we call structured database. So why we are calling structured database? Structured database. So when the values are meaningful, whatever the value stored in the table, that tables are very meaningful. That we can call it as a structure. And structure meaning is it can store only tables in the database. Meaningful information. Each record contains the meaningful information. Then we can able to say that it is a structured database. Okay. So that is the thing. So by using this read, you can able to, after storing the tables in the database, you have to see the table, how it is looking like in the database, right? So to read the tables, we are using select. Select constraint is there. So sorry, not it is not a constraint. Sorry for that. It is a command. Okay. Select command you are using. So select command. What this select command will do? It will fetch the table. I mean, fetch the table means it will take the table from the database and it will show you in the output window, right? So that is, we can call it as a read. Select command. So update. So for suppose there is a, you stored the table into the database. So you stored a table into the database. Okay, you stored a table into the database. In this table, uh, you forgot to add one more column, right? It is very bad, right? So you forgot to add one more column. After adding the table into the database, you forgot. So shared, I forgot I forgot one column to add into this table like that, right? So what you will do if you didn't have update, what you will do? You will delete the whole table and you will add a new table, right? After add the new column into uh, the table, new column into that table, then you can store that table into the database, right? So that will take a long time. So here what you will do, so based upon the columns, you can create a new column. That if you want to add a new column, what are the commands we have? Alter, update. So update is to manipulate the table. So that I will explain you through in languages. No worries about that. So here delete. So delete means what, guys? So delete, it will delete the records present in the table. What are the records present in the table, that it will delete. Okay. So this is the purpose of SQL. Now the third question is, so what is the purpose of servers in the database? What is the purpose of servers? So this is the one question I already explained in the concept of real-time in IT industry. First question itself I explained this question. And the fourth question is, drivers. So what is the purpose of, so what is the driver we have to make a connection between the client, and what is the purpose of drivers, that I will explain you. So what is the purpose of drivers? So basically in MySQL, I explained in yesterday session, in yesterday interview session, I already talked about this. What are the tools we have? Normally, basically we have MySQL, MS SQL, and MS SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server, right? And we have Postgres SQL. So these are the different types of tools. Okay. So what is the purpose of drivers in SQL? So normally, why we are using drivers? Why we are installing the drivers? So for example, if you use VMware, after installing the VMware, there is a, if you want to install Hadoop, here also we are downloading before installing the Hadoop, we are downloading Java drivers. So why? In every software they are using some different type of drivers. So what is the purpose of these drivers? So many people don't know. This is not a this is one type of hard interview question, and the people don't know what is the purpose of drivers. They simply know the names of the drivers is there, so we have to install that one. So the people don't know why we have to use these drivers, why we have to install the drivers. So normally, so the drivers is simply, I will explain you in one example. In one example, I will explain you. Okay, simple way. So there is a school. So there is a school. In that school, we have lecturer and there is students. Okay. And there is a headmaster for this. Lecturers. So in between the headmaster and students, there is a one communication is there, right? So this headmaster wants to know the behavior of the students. This headmaster wants to know behavior of the student, right? So here, who will tell, who will give information about this behavior of the students, who will give information to headmaster? Directly student will give? No, right? So in between students and headmaster, there is a person. That person is lecturer, right? So this person will give the information about the headmaster, and he is the only person who will make the direct communication between the student and headmaster, right? If I'm not wrong, right? Right, this is the example. So here lecturer will like as a, lecturer will like lecturer will like drivers. Here headmaster will like server, and here the students is like clients, right? So here the clients here, if you want to communicate, if the client want to communicate directly server, it is not possible. So in between, definitely there should be a drivers. So these drivers make communication between server and client. Okay, so basically this is the purpose of the drivers, guys. Okay, so take this is an example. If you know this example, then you can able to know what is the purpose of drivers in every tool. Okay, simply if interviewer asks me what is the purpose of drivers, means it will make the communication between client and server. That's it. So why I'm explaining this question very deeply, you guys have to clear your interviews, right? So for that, yeah. So now fifth question is, so servers completed. What is the data warehouse? What is a data warehouse? So what is the meaning of data warehouse? So normally, data warehouse. So basically, normally there is a database, is there, right? So this database contains a large number of tables, right? This database contains a large number of tables. So then that's why we are calling this as a database. So if in the one place, it contains a large number of databases. If it contains a large number of databases, then what we can call it as? We can call it as a data warehouse, right? So now you guys are understanding what is the meaning of data warehouse, right? So the next question is, what is the meaning of normalization in the SQL? So what is the meaning of normalization in the SQL? So when we getting the data from the client, so when we get the data from the client, so that data should be corrupted. So it corrupted with, in the case, which means it contains null values, it contains the data redundancy, and it should contains it can contains it is a incorrectness data. Okay, so you can't able to store these data. If you store these data into the database, then your database will not perform well. You can able to get a security issues, and you can able to low performance issue will get. So to make this data correct, make this data as correctness or without any data redundancy, we are using a normalization concepts. Here normalization concepts. Now basically, what is the meaning of normalization concepts? So first, normalization, what did you do? So if your interviewer asks these question, means the answer for this question is, we are removing the data redundancy in the tables. We are removing data redundancy and the anomalies from the tables and converting it smaller while converting it a larger table into the smaller tables. Otherwise, you can tell simply we are converting a incorrectness data to the correctness data. So for these purposes, we are using the normalization concepts. Okay. So for normalization, there is it is categorized into 5 different steps. So 5 different steps. So what are the concepts? So 1NF. So that we can call it as a normalization. Normalization. We have one more concept that we can call it as a normal forms. So what is normal forms, and what are the different types of normal forms we have? Right. So what are the different types of normal forms we have? So basically we have totally 5 or 6 different types of normal forms. So what are the different types of normal forms we have? That I will tell you right now. So we have 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, BCNF, and 4NF, and 5NF. So these are the different types of normal forms we have to convert or to remove the incorrectness data to correctness data. If you want to convert the incorrectness data to correctness data, you have to follow these different types of normal forms. So here, what it will do? So it will do step by step. So every feature, every normal form contains one new feature. So here 1NF is there. So if 2NF want to start, if you want to satisfy the 2NF in the table, first you have to execute the 1NF. Then we have to, there is one external feature. So you have to add that external feature in this. Then it will become you can able to satisfy a 2NF, second normal form. So if you want to satisfy the 3NF, if you want to satisfy the 3NF, you have to satisfy the 2NF in the table. And you have to add an external feature to this table. Right? So like this, you have to do up to 6NF. So basically, up to if you do up to BCNF, that is fine. So you can able to make your data as a correctness. If you know up to BCNF, you can able to make your data as a correctness. You can able to convert your data incorrectness data to the correctness data. Yeah. Now, what is the meaning of BCNF? So what is the meaning of BCNF? So BCNF means boycott normal form. Boycott normal form. So here 1NF is there, 2NF is there, is 3NF is there. So why BCNF? So there is any other name for the BCNF? Yes, definitely there is any other name for the BCNF we have. So that is 3.5 NF. So there is a 3.5 NF is there, right, sir? So why we are putting this boycott normal form? So here boycott normal form they are putting. Why they are putting? I will tell you a small story. So in yesterday's session, I already discussed with you who introduced these relational databases. Who introduced these relational databases? Boycott. So he is a person. He is the only person who introduced the relational databases. I know his name only. If you know any other name, you can tell me. Okay. So that's why they are putting his name into the is a particular normal form. Okay. Now the next question is, so what is the differences between relational database non-relational databases. So what is the differences between relational and non-relational databases? Simply, I will explain you. So what is the data, guys? In yesterday's session, I already explained you what is the data. Normally a data contains a group of information, we can call it as a data. A group of information which easily processed by a system, that we can call it as a data, a group of information, right? So here information means what? So what type of information? Yeah, we are telling a group of information. Group of information means here what is the meaning of information? So information, it may be Excel files, CSV files, it contains images, it contains a video, and these type of things we can call it as a information. And these type of information we can able to process easily by your PC, right? So that we can call it as a data, right? So while coming into the relational, so relational and non-relational. So what is the differences between these two? So relational, basically too many people thought that relational is structured and non-relational is unstructured, right? Okay, fine. Relational is structured and non-relational is unstructured. So what is the differences between structured and unstructured? So such structure means it contains values in the table and it should contain a meaningful information, right? So this we can call it as a relational structure. While coming into the SQL, it will store one more thing. SQL can store only the structured data. It doesn't store a unstructured data, right? So non-relational means what? It is a NoSQL. So what is the full form of the NoSQL, guys? There is no SQL like that, which means there is no SQL. No SQL means there is no SQL. No, definitely not. So the NoSQL, full form of the NoSQL is not only SQL, not only SQL, which means uh, it which means it is storing on, it is not going to store only unstructured data. It will store structured data also. So that is the meaning of NoSQL. So now you got an idea about relational, non-relational, right? Here non-relational means it will save, some people are saying some, it will save videos and audios. So if you are a if you are a uh, if you are a 5 years experienced guy or 10 years experienced guy in the IT field, so same person will tell the, if I ask this question to 10 years experience of data scientist, what he will tell? He will tell the same answer? No, definitely not. So here relational means, structured means, schema is fixed. Schema is fixed. While coming into the unstructured, here schema is not fixed. So what is the meaning of schema? I didn't tell. I don't know about this. You can explain the schema. That is a question from you, right? So I will explain you. Don't worry. So the next question is, what is schema? So what is schema? So basically the schema means there is a databases, right? Normally there is a database. Database should contain a cylindrical shape. So in this we are storing the tables, right? We are storing the tables in the database. In database where we store the data. Database contains a large amounts of space. So in this large amounts of space, we are storing the data. So we are storing under schema. Under schema, we are storing the database. We are storing the data tables, data in the form of tables. Right? Now, I understand schema, right? So while I'm discussing about the structure and unstructured, so I talked about schema is fixed, schema is not fixed. So the next question is, so what is the meaning of schema is fixed and the schema is not fixed? What is the meaning of schema is fixed, schema is not fixed? Here the meaning of this schema is fixed or not fixed is, so basically structured means if you want to store a database, I mean if you want to store a data in the database, what you will do? So what tools you are going to use if you want to store a structured data into, if you want to store a structured data, what tool you are going to use? SQL, right? MySQL or PostgreSQL, right? So these are the two tools mostly the people are using. So you can use a PostgreSQL or MySQL you can use, right? So in this, what is the schema is fixed? In structured data, if you want to store in structured database, if you want to store a structured data, schema means what? It contains all the information about the tables, right? In tables means it contains the tables information, column information, constraint information, and it contains some more information, right? So these information it contains. So it is all fixed. If you want to store the data before itself, we have to store this data into the schema, right? First, you have to create a physical structure. Then you have to store. Then you have to store a logical structure, right? For example, I will make this example very clear way. So if you want to create a physical structure, first, if you in structured database, you want to create a physical structure first. So physical structure means first you have to create a database. In this database, you have to create a table, right? Table with columns. So this is physical database. Okay. Structured. First you have to create a physical structure. Then only you can able to store a logical structure, right? Logical structure means table is there, right? In this table, inside of the table, there is a values, right? So these values we can call it as a logical structure. Values present inside of the table. So this we can call it as a logical structure. This we can call it as a logical structure, right? So here structure means schema is fixed means here physical structure is there. First you are going to create a physical structure, then you are storing the values inside of the physical structure. So if you while storing the logical structure, you can able to create one more column in the physical structure. No, it is not possible because here schema is fixed. First you create the physical structure, then you are creating. So for example, there is a table. So SL number, I am creating first physical structure. SL number, name, age. So this is a physical structure. Here I want to store a value. One name is Rama and age is 21. So I want to add one more column here. Here schema is fixed. Here physicals are already created. So I didn't create a column here, but I want to add a value. Here class value class 6th class. So I want to add a value. Is it possible? Is it possible to create one more? You can able to store one more value in the logical structure because there is no column. You can able to add no. So whatever the columns you fixed in physical structure, that many values only you can store in the logical structure. That's why I said the schema is fixed. Where the schema is fixed, that data we can call it as a structured data. That data we can call it as a structured data. Okay. So what is the meaning of schema is not fixed? No, schema is not fixed. What is the meaning of schema is not fixed? So here there is a physical structure again. Physical structure means what? It contains both. I mean, it contains data. First, you have to create a. If you want to create a physical structure, first you have to create a database. Instead of the database, you have to create a table with columns, right? In this column, there is no data. So that is physical structure. Logical structure means what? Instead of the table, you have there is if you want to store data, that data inside of the table there is a data, right? Values. That values we can call it as a structure, logical structure. Okay, logical structure. This is a logical structure. Okay. The same SL number, name, and age. Okay. So now here I want to store some values. So here I want to store some values. So one Rama and age is 21. So I want to add here. Here I want to add one more value, that is 6th class. So if you add one more value, automatically it will create one more column, and it will here while you adding the name itself, that time you have to give a column name also. So here the structure of the table is not defined. You can define it anytime. You can able to change the structure of the table at any time. So that's why I call it as a schema is not fixed. Okay. So that is the meaning of structured and unstructured data. If you ask 10 years experienced guy in MNCs or in startups, so this thing you will get, this response you will get from there. Okay. Okay, guys. Now the next question is, Now the next question is, so while coming into the sequel, for table there is a different names. Relation. So what is relation? Comma. What is the meaning of other name of the rows? What is the meaning of tuples, fields, and what is the meaning of entity? So what is the meaning of attribute? So while coming into the sequel, there is a different names for this table. So that I will explain you right now. Okay. So here the table is there. So for example, here the table is there. So in this table, so what is the meaning of relation, guys? What is the meaning of relation in this table? So here the whole before that, I will give the name. So this table name is student. So student contains SL number, name, and age. So these three columns, student contains these three columns. Okay. So now here here inside of this table we have some values. Okay. So here what is the meaning of student? The whole table, this whole table we can call it as a relation, right? Relation. The other name of the table is, yeah. So other name of the table is relation. So inside of this table there is a table name, right? Student is there. So this is the table name. Student is the table name, right? So the other name of the table name is entity, right? Okay. So sir, here columns is there. So the other name of the columns means what? Columns means what? Other name of the columns means what, guys? Fields. Inside of the columns there is a column name, SL number, name, age, right? So column name means, the other name of the column name means attribute. So what is the meaning of attribute? So definition of the attribute means what? So the definition of the attribute means the description of the column. So whatever the description that column contains, that description we can call it as an attribute. The description of the column is called attribute, right? Description of the column we can call it as a attribute. So here rows is there. So the other name of the rows is records. And one more name is that no, one more name is for that rows. That one is tuples. Okay. So these are the different names we have in the sequence. Okay. So you guys have to remember these names in the SQL structured query language. Okay. So now we will discuss one more question. Okay, how many different types of languages that command contains? Command concept contains how many different types of languages? So for example, commands means what? Commands means the instruction. So here a person is there, he is a army major. Okay, he's a army major, and he will give instructions. He will give instructions to the soldiers, right? So here army major is like commands. So this army major has some instructions, some rules. This army major, otherwise this commander knows 5 different languages. So what are the different types of languages? DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL and DQL. So these are the different types of languages this commander know. Same like. So in our SQL also we have commands concepts. These command concepts know these different types of 5 languages. So DDL means data definition language, DML means data manipulation language, DCL means data control language, TCL means transaction control language, and DQL is data query language. Okay. So these are the different types of languages is maintained in SQL. Okay. Okay, guys. Now the time is 5 o'clock. We have to end. We have to wind up this session.